Wow. Okay, like I never go live, but I decided to go live because I didn't want to like save this to my iPad, but I wanted to record later because I just want to talk about what's going on right now. So, tonight I was coming from the city because I work in San Francisco, and I'm on the train back to Berkeley, and I see my cousin Josh. And so we're chatting, right? We're talking about family stuff. I was just asking how his family's doing because he's married, he has two children. He's also dealing with some custody stuff. If you guys are familiar with me and you know of Ariel, then you also know I'm dealing with like family law and ex marriage type stuff. Those are real things in my life. So if some people are actually accustomed to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, what they're going through is real, and I would encourage people to take that quite seriously. Dude, being an adult is hard. But we actually talked about some stuff, and I want to talk about it here because I feel like some of you guys are listening to what's happening on Clubhouse, or talking to Taj, or talking to my brother, or talking to my mother, and feeling like we all have the same perspective. And I just want to let you guys know, like, we don't. Like, there's me. This is why I, like, created this channel, and why I already had, for the past, like, year and a half, I've had a private Finstagram account where I would post, like, every day about all the shit that I was doing, but I made it private, and I blocked all of my family members. Now, the reason I did that is because I realized that in their minds, they were thinking, like, we are the friends of Olivia. We know all the things about Olivia, which just isn't true. Like, they actually didn't know anything about me at all. And they just kept assuming all this shit. They were like, she thinks this and she thinks that and she does this. And they were just wrong about all of it. So this is why all I did was, in the public Instagram that I have that's made with my real name, I reposted stuff that I posted a year ago. So this entire year I've been living an entire life, but it wasn't even a private life, right? Like, it was like my real life. Like, I was out in the world. It was Olivia out in the world, just doing things, having new relationships, like resurfacing old relationships, just living a regular adult life that just was very separate from my family. So the only person I think was kind of included with that was Damon, because he was a member of my neighborhood. Like, he literally was just traveling through, like, he would show up at bars that I was at, so I'm not gonna like ignore him. I was just like, he's here, let's talk to Damon. He's here, like, he's a part of the community. I'm not gonna ignore that. In the same way I saw Josh today, and he was a part of that. But I really just want to make it clear to you guys, like, I have a different perspective than Taj or my brother or my mother. So what all of those people are saying, it's not really like conducive to what's like happening in my actual life. Like, there's this shit that I'm doing every day in my world, and then there's the shit that's happening in their lives, and we don't really like talk to each other. Like, I haven't talked to Taj in so long. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what he's doing. When I don't know what my brother is doing. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. Honestly, I don't really know what my mother's doing, because even when I ask her for money, and then like I just move on with my life, we don't like discuss further than that. So yeah, so I guess the other thing I was talking about is I've talked to my cousin Keisha, right? And she was like, she was helping me with process serving. So she ended up like serving some paperwork that I needed served, which was useful. It was really cool. And so I was talking to her about what's going on in her life. Now, she was saying, like, she's moving again. She's moving in with, like, her ex, like, the father of her second child. But he's married with 4 additional children. And it just seemed really complicated. I was very concerned about that. But then I was talking to her brother. So her brother was the cousin that I met on the train, and we were talking about this. And I just really came to the conclusion, like, what's happening in Keisha's life is not happening in my life. like I noticed that like Shayla had joined Vogue, and I was like, well, that's great for Shayla. Like, I'm happy for her, but also that's not my life. What I'm trying to say here is that like I have no idea at all what's going on with my brother because I just haven't talked to him at all. And even with my mother, besides little like very snippets of things that she's told me, like I don't follow her on social media. We don't talk every day. I don't tell her about really any of the shit that I do. So she has virtually no idea what's going on in my life. And I was trying to make that clear to some of you guys because when you hear shit third person, or you hear like something, Olivia was wearing blue, Olivia went here, Olivia did this, unless if you come on here and you actually like listen in daily, you kind of get a pretty good sense of what's happening. But if not, like, you're not getting accurate information. Because, like, I'm not sharing what I'm doing with many people. Like, the way that I've chosen to live my life is whoever's there, that's who knows what's going on. And I have connections with just so many different people for different reasons that if you weren't there, you won't know. And there are 24 hours in a fucking day, and I use all of them. Like yesterday, I was at Fort Mason. I was at the Off the Grid. I was at a whole like private reception. I was bartending. Then I went back to Oakland. I went to downtown Berkeley 2 different times. Like all of that was like just yesterday. One day. It's like 6 different places with all the people who are there. So I just kind of wanted to stop in and say that. Maybe it's to some of you guys who are getting used to understanding how this channel works. I'm really trying to get accustomed to using the tools that I have and the different social media that I have to kind of make sense of it all. So that's what this is.